Good morning, dearest pupils. Today, with the sequence 3, entitled Me, My Community and Citizenship, we're going to see a grammar point. Of course, the title is clear for you. Conditional type 1. Well, before starting, let's make or have a brief revision. You have the following task. So you are asked to write the correct form of the verbs in brackets. You have the following text. Let's read it together. So follow, please. Every Friday, Akram, the verb between brackets, to wake up early, he to get dressed and to have breakfast, then he not go to the youth club, he to do his homework because the next day he to visit his grandparents in the countryside, where he to spend a marvelous time with them. You've got 5 minutes to do the task. We'll be back. Okay, we're back again. So let's see the correction. You have, every Friday, Akram wakes up early, he gets dressed and has breakfast. Then, he doesn't go to the youth club. He does his homework because the next day, he will visit his grandparents in the countryside, where he'll spend a marvelous time with them. Now let's see following words. Considering the verbs here, wakes, gets, has, doesn't go, does, again the verb will visit, and will spend, or apostrophe double spend. Why? So in order to correct the verb, you try to find a time indicator in the text. So if we read again the text, we'll find that every Friday is a time indicator that indicates, of course, the what tense? The simple present. However, we have here the next day that indicates the future simple. That's why the verbs here wakes, gets, has, does not go, and does are conjugated in the present simple. The verbs visit, the verb spend, they are conjugated in the future. So, to conjugate the verb, you should look for a time indicator. If you don't or cannot find a time indicator, you try to imagine it. So, consider the present simple now. the present simple. So, concerning the verbs week, get, have, they are in the present simple and does not, of course. The affirmative form, as you see on the board here, we have weeks. Means week plus s. Then you have get plus s. Then you have that became has. Why? Because they are all conjugated within the pronoun he. Remember, with he or even she or it is the verb plus s. Exceptions, the auxiliary verb to have. You cannot say has, it is has. For the second tense, which is the future simple, always the affirmative form. The rule is very simple. You have just we plus stem or base verb. You can write we or apostrophe double L. Forget to tell you. Now in the negative form, you conjugate the verb by adding the auxiliary verb do. It is either do not with I, with they, or does not with he, she, it. That's why when you see the verb will go in the negative form, not go, becomes does not go. This is for the present simple and the future simple concerning the affirmative negative forms. Today's lesson is about first condition. What is the first conditional? Look at the picture. Imagine if you have a lot of money. What will you do with? So, you have 3 or 4 minutes. You try to write 3 or 4 sentences about that. We'll be back. We're back again. Here we have some possible answers. For example, if I have a lot of money, I will buy a nice car. Another possibility, if I have a lot of money, I'll visit many countries. You may also say, I'll help poor families if I have a lot of money. And you can say, I will build a hospital if I have a lot of money. You can give more possibilities or more answers. So now, consider the following sentence, then answer the questions below. The sentence, if I have a lot of money, I will help poor families. Question 1. Is the sentence simple or complex? 2. How many clauses or parts, as you like, are there? 3. Underline the verbs. First, the fourth question, which tenses are they? So, you have 2 minutes and we'll be back again. Here is the answer key for that task. If I have a lot of money, I will help poor families. So this sentence is a complex one. Why? Because it is made of 2 clauses or 2 parts. So the first clause, it is called the if clause or the conditional clause. It starts from the word if and finishes here, comma. The second part of the second clause, we call it a main clause or a result clause. It is from I will help till families or full stop. The following question. The underlined verbs here have and will help. Which tenses are they? They are, so the first verb have is in the present simple tense, as we said. And the second one, will help, is in the future simple. Now if we take this sentence, or this part from the sentence, or this clause from the sentence, as you like. If I have a lot of money, you call it if clause or conditional clause. I will help poor families is the main clause or the result clause. As I said, it is if or conditional clause. Second part clause, we call it main or result clause. We can write the sentence otherwise. We can start with I will help poor families. And if I have a lot of money. So it is the inverse of the first sentence. but the meaning is the same. I will help poor families is, of course, a main clause or result clause. However, the if I have a lot of money is called the if clause or conditional clause. Here, as I said, we have one sentence, but we can write it in two different ways. Either we start with if clause, or we start with the main clause. Always within the same sentence. If I have a lot of money, I'll or I will. You can say I'll or I will. Both are correct. So, if I have a lot of money, I will help or I'll help poor families. So we can write it otherwise. I will help poor families if I have a lot of money. Have is in the present simple, and will help is, of course, the future simple. Let's see now the three forms, the three main forms. Let's talk first about the affirmative or positive form. With I, you, with they, it is always if, verb, and the second part will plus base verb or stem. Always with the same pronouns, I, you, with they, but now it is the negative form. It is if, do not or don't, so we can write it, do not or don't. So if I don't or I do not study, so it is do not plus stem. Plus here in the second part, or in the second clause, it is will not. We can write will not or won't. So will not or won't. Plus the remaining, or plus stem and remaining sentence. For a yes-no question now, you can start with will, subject, stem, remaining sentence, and the if clause. Sometimes you can even start with the if clause and the inverse, the second part. So it can be, if I study hard, will I pass my exams, for example. It is always with I, you, we, they. Within the third singular pronoun, he, she, it, within the positive sentence or a positive form or affirmative form here, it is if, he, she, it, verb plus s, and it is always the future here, no change. The negative form, if he doesn't, stem, and the rest of the sentence including the second part. A yes-no question now. It is always will plus stem here, and the verb studies with the other pronoun he or she or it. So we have the sentences here. I repeat, if I study hard, I will pass my exams. In the second sentence, which is negative form, if I don't study hard, I will not or won't pass my exams. And if you ask a question here, the question means here you answer by yes or no. Yes or no. If you answer the question here with yes or no, the question will be, will I pass, will you pass, will they pass? My exams, his exam, their exams, your exam, and so on. If I, you, we, they study hard. As I said again, for the third singular pronoun, it is if he studies hard, he'll pass or he will pass the exams, or his exams. For the negative sentence, if he doesn't study hard, he won't or he will not pass his exams. And for the last sentence, which is the interrogative form, will he pass his exams if he studies hard? And the answer is, of course, yes or no. So let's recap again. So, I invite you to open your books at page 112. Let's read together. So, we use the future condition, or the first condition, to to talk about the result of an imagined future situation. So, which belief is possible or likely? So, this situation is true, but it is not 100% to happen in the future. So, it is possible or likely to happen. We use the present simple within the conditional clause. We call it also the if clause. And we use the future simple within the main clause, or we call it also the result clause. We can also use the imperative. By the way, this is something very important for you. And here we're in the main or in the result clause. Examples. If you see that book, this is the if clause. The result clause, what is it? Remember that I made up my mind at the time to write you this letter. And this is what we call the main or the result clause. So let's repeat the sentence again. If you see that book, remember that I made up my mind at that time to write you this letter. Another sentence. If you have to leave school one day, and this is possible, don't stop. This is the imperative form. Don't stop learning and studying. Carry on studying. So as I said, it is always in the main or in the result clause you can use the imperative. A very important remark. Be careful. When you start with an if clause, a conditional sentence, always put a comma before you move to the main clause. So be careful. When we use a comma, and why? When do we use a comma, and why? When we don't use it. If you start the sentence with if, you take the example number 2 or number 1. Both in the two sentences here, if you see that book, comma. Now if you inverse the sentence, and we start like this, remember that I made up my mind at that time to write you this letter. Don't put a comma. Just finish your sentence and write, if you see that book. It's the same thing for the second sentence. I think it's clear. Now let's practice. You have task 8 at page 150. Now, write the correct form of the verbs in brackets. We are going to write them either in the present simple or in the future simple. Now we have a set of sentences. Number 1, if he to follow his parents' advice, he not have any problem with his friends. Second sentence, she to be an accomplished citizen if she not fail her duties to her community. Third sentence, if we to eat healthy food, we to keep fit and to live longer. Fourth sentence, family ties and relationships to strengthen if people together more after or often around meals at home. Number 5, if to have well-advised plans for your future, you see here the comma, you to succeed in life. And the last sentence, there to be more justice in the world if, you see there is no comma, if the rich to give more to the poor. You've got 6 minutes, we'll be back. Time for answers. I think you got the answers. Well, let's see. 1. If he, present, so the verb to follow, follows. He plus S. His parents' advice, he won't or will not, as you like, you can write it, will not or won't. Both are correct. So will not have or won't have. If he follows his parents' advice, he will not or won't have any problems with his friends. For the second sentence, she will, can even say shall. So instead of saying she will, you can say shall. She'll be or she will be an accomplished citizen if she doesn't or does not. Both are correct. So doesn't or does not fail her duties to her community. Number 3, if we eat, it's always the present, healthy food, we'll keep or we will keep, both correct. We'll keep fit and will live longer or live longer. But the best one is live longer, since it is repeated here. So we try not to repeat by avoiding saying will. But it is always the future. It is not the present. For number 4, family ties will strengthen. So if we start now with the main clause, so it is the future. So will plus base verb or still. Will strengthen if people, and again the present simple, gather more often around meals at home. Number 5, if you have well-advised plan for your future, you will succeed or you'll succeed, as you like. So say will or the contracted form apostrophe double L, succeed in life. And the last sentence now, there will be more justice in the world if the rich give more to the poor. Now you have another task to do. Now complete each sentence according to your opinion, using your own words, your point of view. It's up to you to decide. You have a lot of possibilities. The first sentence, if you work hard this year, you finish the sentence. Number 2, a very important one, we won't be at risk of catching coronavirus or COVID-19 if we what? You've got 3 or 4 minutes and we'll be back. some possible answers for the task, or for the two sentences. For the first sentence, for example, you can say, if you work hard this year, you'll succeed. You'll succeed with merit. With merit, yes, and you will pass. For the second one, for example, we won't be at risk of catching coronavirus COVID if we stay at home, if we don't go out, if we follow all the advice. Now, for more practice, please open your books again and do task 9, page 115. For the correction, you can ask your teacher, maybe your brother, maybe your father, maybe your friends. Or you can visit this very useful website, islcollective.com, English ESL, worksheets, grammar, first conditional 1. You'll find a set of tasks with their answers or key answers. Thank you, dearest pupils, for your attention, and I wish you all the best. Stay home, stay safe. Bye.
شكرا على المشاهدة. لا تنسوا الاشتراك في القناة، الضغط على الجرس، الإعجاب بالفيديو.